Greetings, this is Professor Jahsun of Osmalanjo Zemesri Toro. I'm working for William Grant Still Center, and this is African Martial Arts Lesson 3. So this week, we're going to cover the two movements, Aogiole and Martelo. And what we want to discuss this week is the concept of Ifa. And we'll just get into some basics about Ifa, African spirituality of the Yoruba people, and how it relates to capoeira. So, first of all, I want to define where this tradition comes from. So Ifa is an African tradition that comes out of the location known as Nigeria. But aside from Nigeria, more specifically, this tradition comes out of Yoruba land. Yoruba land is an area where the Yoruba people occupy, and this location is actually, it extends beyond the boundaries of just Nigeria. When we think of the area Nigeria, I want you to look on this colonialist map, and Nigeria was colonized by the British. So this is a map of, I would say, just a bit of Yoruba land. But as you can see, Yoruba land even extends into areas like Benin, also known as Dahomey, even as far as Ghana, even up into the Nupwe areas, even close to the areas of Igala that are associated with some of the Congo regions. So the Yoruba land is very vast. So the Yoruba land is the place where many Yoruba people come from, or I like to call Yoruba people Odua people. Yoruba even is a name that was given to the Yoruba people or the Odua people by, if I remember correctly, the Arabs. So I call Yoruba people Odua people because Yoruba people come from Oduduwa, the deity known as Oduduwa. But more importantly, this is the beautiful tradition of Ifa. Now, how does Ifa relate to African martial arts and capoeira? So as we can see on our map, we see areas like Ife, Ile-Ife, Ibadan, Abeokuta, other locations, Ketu, Ilorin. All of these locations are very important when we begin to analyze where Africans came from in terms of the continent of Africa. How did they get to their various respective places in the diaspora? So when we think of Ifa, as defined by Oloye Sholagbede Popola, Ifa can simply be defined as the esoteric word of God, Olodumare, which is used to create the universe and its fullness in bringing, which is still binding. It is the truth, which must be upheld by all humanity. So this comes from his book, What is Ifa? So in essence, Ifa is the truth. And this is the truth as was brought to the Odua people of Yoruba land. So Ifa is in the New World. It is an African tradition that was spread by the oppressed, by African people who were enslaved. And when we look at this, these are African people who were brought to the Americas, to the United States, to Brazil, to Cuba, to Haiti, all over the African diaspora. When we look at Ifa, Ifa also is the core spiritual system involved in the development of traditions like voodoo in Haiti, candomblé, umbanda, macumba, and the like in Brazil, and santeria in Cuba, or also known as Lukumi. When we begin to analyze these concepts and look at them within the shaping of this African martial art known as capoeira, we see the activities of Yoruba people and of the Orisha in the activities of the martial art. So even in terms of this form of martial art known as capoeira Angola Salbito Grande, out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, when we think of this type of capoeira, the origins of this capoeira come from two factions. One being Nago. The Nago were the New World Yorubas in Brazil. And then the Guiamos. The Guiamos also is a Malta or a faction or a gang. And this gang is actually the gang that Capoeira Angola Salbento Grande comes from. So capoeira and the aspects of Odua or Yoruba people work in conjunction with each other. And we'll talk a little bit more about this when we begin to discuss the Orishas. So let's move on. Let us begin with the discussion of the martial arts movements that we will deal with today. And the movement is Aou, Giole, and we move into Martelo. So we're building on the block that we built last week, which was Aou. And we build on that block and we put Aou and Ole, and then add Martelo to that. So these movements come together, and as we develop our vocabulary of movement, we are able to make complete sentences. So let's discuss further the movement of Augiole and the attack of Martelo. Thank you very much. This is the movement Augiole Martelo. So this movement is the Aou, but it is blended into Hole, and we add the Martelo as further attack. So as you try this slowly, do a regular Aou and compress it with that first leg that hits the ground, bend it. We'll try it again. A regular Aou and turn it into Hole. Always step and enter Aou, compress it into Hole, and then add the Martelo. From the front. This can be a very powerful kick when you basically flip onto a person that's got the same speed and velocity of that of an axe kick within other martial arts, but with this, you're using your whole body to attack. Once again, Aou, Giole, Martelo. So try it out very slowly. Remember to do a regular Aou and compress the leg that touches the ground first. Obrigado.